Well, joining me is one of our top 20 countdown, Pete Andrelczyk. And Pete, three excellent years in Lancaster. And as a result, the fans, they know you, they're comfortable with you, they love you, and they named you one of the top 20 Barnstormers of all time. So congratulations.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's an honor, obviously, with a lot of the names that have come through that place. Just to, I think I probably got the hair recognition. I think that's really what I got. So, um, if you see me looking left, I'm watching a coastal baseball game right now. It's in the bottom of the 10th. So, um, but no, it's an honor just with all the talent that has come through and the people. So it's like I said, I think I get a little bit of the hair recognition and the hometown recognition, but for to be but noted with 19 other guys on that list is just like I said, a really big honor.
Yeah, you were part of that great 2014 team that won the Atlantic League Championship, bottom half of the 13th inning in the rain, the Jacobo walk-off home run. That's got to be such a great memory for you.
Yeah, it was one of those ones I can kind of my memory goes in and out. I've had a couple concussions over my career, but that's one of the ones that kind of sticks with you. You go through and you kind of sit there and wonder if that game's ever going to end, and then it starts to rain a little bit, and you're like, all right, like one way or the other, let's figure this out. And luckily, Gabe decided that he was going to help us out and figure it out for us. And I remember him rounding third, and just like there's puddles of water starting up. And it's just like it's at that point you're already soaked. Now you're just gonna go get hopefully soaked with a couple a winning champagne shower. So if you're that wet, you might as well get wet and win.
And we don't even get to that point if it weren't for the Kajimoto Grand Slam in Somerset.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
think the fans that were there, they probably say that was the number one moment in Barnstormers history. It may very well be. What are your recollections of that moment?
Just the fact that you're sitting there kind of again just going through the paces of the game and how everything plays out, and it's just one of those just kind of defining moments, you're right, where um especially that guy, like he was just kind of a burst of energy for everybody, and then to be able to do something like that and come up in a situation like that really kind of propels you and gets you going a little bit. And like you said, yeah, it's probably, I mean, it's if you really think about it, it's one of my top moments. And I'm discounting everything I ever did. I'm sitting there thinking, man, that's one of the cooler moments you've ever had in baseball.
And the bullpen had a bird's eye view of that ball leaving.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you think 2015, a bullpen that was actually Bush actually put together two back ends of the bullpen, and the relief staff kind of dominated the second half, got to the playoffs again, didn't quite work out as well. 2016, we just had so many players get signed and injured that year that nothing really came of that. But still a great 3-year run. You still maintain some ties. You get to work with me on some of the Sunday games on
Yeah.
Blue Ridge Cable. We certainly have some fun.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so it's like I said, or like you've been talking about those 3 years. Well, it's got to the point where yeah, I knew I always wanted to teach, and as much fun as I had playing baseball and still have just coaching and doing all those types of things. Um, Kind of time at that point to move on from it and start to give back a little bit more in the on the coaching aspect of it. But just to be able to play in a city like Lancaster in the ballpark like that, it was such an incredible experience. I mean, most anybody you talk to when they've come to visit the ballpark or come to watch the team, there's not a bad spot to sit. The atmosphere is electric most of the time. They do a great job with some of those promotions and all the kinds of things like that. I haven't seen the turf yet, but that's just going to make it that much better to be able to go and you don't have to deal with some of the rain delays and things like that. So I guess I guess you don't need a tarp now, do you?
Well, you don't need a tarp, and with the way it's built today, you don't even need one of the vacuums anymore. It's just
Yeah.
the rain goes right through it. It goes right through
Yeah,
the mesh
so
and
that's pretty exciting. It'll gives the city a little bit more ability to do some other kind of events and things like that. I guess I mean that's got to be one of the draws for it. But um, again, going back to the playing aspect of it, it was such a blast to be able to get to play in an atmosphere, and especially for me being from Lancaster, it was twofold. You get to play high level, high quality baseball with a lot of really good players, and then you also get to do it in front of your friends and family more often than not.
I remember the first conversation we really had, and you probably don't remember this, it was spring training before the 2014 season, but you basically told me anything that we needed you to do in terms of appearances and so on and so forth, you would do. I remember going back up to the office, sort of pumping my fist and go, guys, we just hit the PR jackpot.
Yeah, I mean,
It was kind of one of those treasured moments, and you lived up to it.
yeah, I mean, I thought, especially because the like I said, being able to just being given that opportunity to play in front of some unbelievably passionate fans in my hometown, like I always remember going to, I think the closest thing for me when I was a kid, we'd go up to the Harrisburg Senators games. And I remember just, some of the guys that would give you the time of day and talk to you and just have conversations with you on the field. Like, I'm sitting there down there in the front row with a ball. And if you sign it and talk to me, like that made my day. And I just remember how that kind of felt. And especially understanding like the other aspect of where I knew I wanted to be as a teacher, it's those two things were really they're high up on my list of qualities that a person should have. Is if you can be able to do something you love, then you got to find a way to be able to do that thing you love and give back to the people that hopefully are going to be the next generation of that same kind of thing. So for me to sit there and be able to play baseball and play for that long, it really doesn't make sense to me to not continue to try to grow the game in some kind of organic atmosphere and in some kind of organic interaction. And I believe, I mean, I just believe this in my heart that I don't think anything I ever did was faked or unauthentic. So I always like to be able to have those. No matter if you're a fan who's screaming at me in the bullpen, telling me that you don't want me to do well, that's fine. I'm going to have an authentic interaction with them too. So more often than not, I did end up making friends with the people who were telling me they wanted me to lose the game. So um, it was, it's, I appreciate you saying it. It's a PR jackpot, but I think it's just one of those things that I just enjoy doing. And I think, it was a blessing to be able to do that and to be able to do it in Lancaster for sure.
And not all that many guys have gotten to play in front of their hometown crowd. And you had that chance, you made the most of it.
Yeah, and it's like I said, and like you had talked about too. It's so I always I kind of told Butch the same thing for when he said, here's what we envisioned you doing. Where I tell you that I'm going to do any appearance you need in the community. I told him any appearance you need in between the lines, I'll do that too.
Yeah, and you hold the
So
record.
yeah, so
Still hold the
I
record.
think he was a little confused at first when he'd always ask me. I think like the first month or two, he said, "Hey, you good to go?" And I said, "I am." And you got to stop asking me that because it's always going to be a yes. And I think he kept asking me for about a month or two, and then after the second month, he's like, "All right, I'm not." He yells at me every time I ask him if he's like good to go. So I'm just not asking anymore, and I'm just going to call down and tell him that he's in the game. And once he kind of got that going, then it was then you kind of saw that. They call down, go in, get in. Next day, don't ask me. I will tell you if I'm not. And I don't think I ever told him that I could not throw. I think there was a stretch of 7 or 8 days in a row, and the guys in the bullpen are like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm okay. Like I want to go pitch."
Well, again, congratulations for being one of the top 20 barnstormers of all time. I'm sure we'll be seeing you again during the summer once high school baseball seasons uh, get over and done with, and take your township team as far as it'll go, because I know you guys are
Absolutely.
usually pretty doggone good.